Hello Bloodhunt community. Bloodhunt is a game that we developed as a standout title in the popular battle royale genre, where we focus on creating an immersive and unique experience for players that enjoy games that are easy to learn but difficult to master. Ever since launch, we have been on a journey to excite and delight our players. However, while we have an amazing and very engaged community, we haven't been able to reach the critical mass needed to sustain development. This has led us to the decision to stop further development of Bloodhunt. So, what does this mean? This means that the next update, which I presume in 2, maybe 3 weeks time, just kind of makes sense with the previous updates, that will be the last update to Bloodhunt. Terribly sad. Everyone is just upset about this. Like, we kind of knew this sort of thing was coming, but we were kind of hoping it was going to be a little bit later. Here's the thing. It's not dead. It's dying, but not dead. The way that I'd always looked at the future of Bloodhunt was, as long as the developers are still updating it, they're still working on more content and more things to bring to the game, there was always a hope that it could pick up, that players could come back, and this could be, like, any one of these patches, any one of these updates could have been that update that brought everyone back and contained a bunch of stuff so people would keep playing. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and of course, like, the studio needs to be making a certain amount of money to be able to warrant still working on something, and that's just normal business. That's fine. The one thing we were kind of hoping for was that more updates would still be coming. It's unfortunate that they're stopping, but they are keeping servers open. Even after this next update, we are still going to be able to play. There are still going to be some things which are going to be keeping it new and fresh. I presume this comes in cosmetics, maybe a few challenges, this whole voting system they've been talking about for a few updates now. If you are enjoying Bloodhunt, if you still want to play Bloodhunt, there are going to be the servers open and you are going to be able to play, and there are going to be some things that are going to be changing. But here's the way I see it. Bloodhunt's days are numbered. Whether that is a month, whether that is 6 months, whether that is 2 years, who knows? As long as the community is still actively playing the game and people are still getting involved, they have said they'll keep the servers open. Whether that is then changed later on down the line when they say, oh, maybe there's not enough players to sustain it open or something, that might change in the future. But the way I see it is, until at least September, we can still give the game a good run. Now, me from a content sort of point of view, obviously with Bloodhunt no longer having like that future in there anymore, obviously I'm going to be turning towards other games and other content to work towards in the future. It doesn't mean I'm completely dropping Bloodhunt. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing immediately. It still means more Bloodhunt content to come on YouTube, but expect a bit of a change of pace and a change of some of my content to come, especially on YouTube. And we will still be coming back to Bloodhunt maybe once a week, and maybe we'll make it the Fridays. Fridays have always been like the most popular day, where we'll just do a Bloodhunt day and we'll just keep doing that until servers are over, you know? And that could be 6 months, that could be a year, who knows? Hold me, because most of my content is now dying. Oh, we're all sad. Dude. Like, I knew this day was going to come at some point. Like, as soon as they reduced the team, there was a very low chance that it was going to come back. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of thrown a lot of my plans up in the air. And it's an awkward one, but I can't just drop Bloodhunt, you know? I've enjoyed it too much. I've done way too much Bloodhunt content. Do I think there's going to be a spike of players? I highly doubt there'll be a spike of players. It's not impossible. It's very, very unlikely. But here's my worry. At the moment, we have a bunch of people leaving the game. This was before the announcement. The player base has been dropping against since the Tremere update, partly because of servers, which seem to be like completely fixed now. I haven't really been having issues. But then one of the biggest things that I've been complaining about myself, at least recently, has been replayability. Like, why are these people going to come back to Bloodhunt? Why are they going to play it again? And again, and again, and again, day in, day out, and keep coming back to it, even though the player base isn't huge. You need something to work towards. You need something to grind for. And there's a few ideas. Some of them, like in my non-developer opinion, would probably be pretty easy to implement. Some of them are a lot more difficult to implement, but then would have much better results. So I really think, depending on what comes in this next update, we may see the community really stick with the game for quite a while, because they're saying that it's also going to stay open. So you will still be able to log on, right? you will still be able to come in, you'll still be able to play Bloodhunt. Whatever comes in the next update, that is going to be it. Don't expect past that new weapons, don't expect new battle passes. But that's the thing, knowing that is going to be the last update, maybe they have something really big planned. Who knows? I really don't think today, if you were to take Bloodhunt and have it on Xbox, I don't think anything would help. Just because there are some issues with the game, like the replayability that I was talking about, and that's not going to be fixed by bringing it to another platform. Like, in my opinion, if it's failing on 2 platforms, it's not because you bring it to a 3rd one that it's going to be randomly saved. A battle royale needs to be as open to new players as possible, and it needs to be as available as possible. So free to play, it has to be generally open on all platforms, that kind of thing. You need to have a massive player base for battle royales to work, but that's just like the nature. And then obviously, because it's a live service game, having other competitors like Fortnite, like Apex, like Warzone, these massive competitors have already set the standard of this is what a live service game looks like. And obviously, like, something like Bloodhunt has to compete with that. Whether they like it or not, they have to compete. Also, doesn't help that Battle Royale has now kind of been out for a while now, so some people are starting to get bored with it. It's not necessarily a brand new mode, you know? So you need to have something special for it to work. It's definitely been difficult. Like, they've had their work cut out for them since the beginning. And what makes it even harder is the whole World of Darkness Vampire the Masquerade thing versus fast-paced shooter, vertical movement, pew-pew. Like, these 2 worlds are contradictory worlds, and they've managed to put both of them into a game where both the role-player games and the Battle Royale people are fairly happy. I mean, obviously there are ups and downs, but like, they're fairly happy and they're able to play the same game. And like, that alone, that is an achievement, you know? That is quite some achievement, taking TTRPG players and diehard Battle Royale players and having them play the same game. Dude, that must be so hard. Do you think if the last update turns out to be huge and bring back players, could they resume support for the game? I presume they'll be keeping an eye on it. I presume what has happened is someone higher up has said, okay, guys, we have had this much funding to try and keep on top of this. Your funding's basically running out, so yeah, you haven't really got much to do left. Maybe, like, I don't really know how these kind of businesses work. Maybe if for whatever reason the player base hit, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, maybe they'd unlock a small portion of funding and come out with like one more update. And it'd probably at first be very, very focused on, okay, we are unlocking a very small portion of money for this, maybe, and we'll see where that goes. And like really doing that on a per update basis. But I can't see them just randomly picking up full development of the game just because some players are playing again. Like, it's not about to happen. Do you think new maps would have helped motion, like the big cities, Berlin? Yes, like big maps, new maps, something like Tokyo. If they'd released this in Tokyo, I mean, like, who knows where we'd be today, you know? It's not something they're just about to drop, you know? It's gonna take 6 months, a year, multiple years to develop a map that good. What do you think about bringing the game to Epic's game store? It won't change anything. The owners of Bloodhunt, or the owners of Sharkmob, Tencent, they have money coming out of their ears. It's not just because they lack in funding to make stuff. It's because it's a business decision, really. They're cutting their losses, it's called. So you stop putting funding into it now, knowing that, yeah, you're going to lose this money at some point. Either you cut it now and lose a little bit of money, or you try and push it and cut it later, but you risk on losing way much more money. It's just a business thing. It makes complete sense. When you remember how hype you was for release of a game state right now, it's mostly because of the devs, bad and bad decisions in a row, here we are. I mean, yes and no. Like, some bad decisions, or like bad decisions from a player perspective, might be amazing decisions from an actual gameplay point of view. But most people, like 99% of everyone, don't work in game development. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, one thing they might think is a really bad idea was really good. And like, I'm not claiming to be that expert. Like, it's not because it looks like a bad idea on the outside that it was necessarily a bad idea. It's always more complicated than it seems. This is what I tried saying a bunch of time for the whole aim assist thing, because aim assist has been a really big issue for quite some time. And the problem is, like, yeah, sure, they could have maybe just nerfed aim assist. But then what happens to all the controller players who can't get a kill? Well, they will leave, don't they? So suddenly it's not just as simple as nerf aim assist. Suddenly the issue is, oh, okay, we need like some much more extensive support for controllers. You know what I mean? It's always more complicated than it looks. Dude, we're just slaying and chatting, you know what I mean? Oh, you ran into my bum. Oh, how great was that? I've seen some people actually taking it out or trying to take it out on Tobias himself. It's like, Tobias has been possibly like one of the most dedicated people. It's like, this guy has been up at ungodly hours trying to help fix like stuff for the community. Even though like he's not getting paid for it, he's doing it out of the kindness of his heart. And then you see people on Twitter or in the Discord saying, oh, this is all because of you and you forced me to do this or whatever. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, I get that you're upset, but you know what I mean? You start seeing the real face of some people. There's many different options, and obviously depending on which road the game went down, it could have come out with wildly varying results. Like, imagine if the game was trios only. We would be in a wildly different spot, wouldn't we? Who knows whether that spot would have been better or not. Damn, dude. Did someone say I don't do anything about Bloodhunt? I'm literally the Bloodhunt guy. That has been my thing for like the last 6+ months. I mean, like, I've been doing it since the game launched, but just simply release the game too early. Oh, I agree. 100%. There was definitely major mistakes on when they released the game, in my opinion. Like, it released with so many bugs, dude. Like, game-breaking bugs as well. Not just like, oh, yeah, that's annoying, but I'll deal with it. Got him. Oh, there we go.